That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
I'm going to expand it from most confusing player to most confusing team because I was going to do a whole segment on D'Lo, but let's just look at the Timberwolves in general. I mean, if you look at the points differential from any team, they're sitting at -12, by far the worst team behind the Thunder, Pistons, and Kings. Listen, I'm a Pistons fan. I'm biased. It doesn't matter. There's no reason that the Timberwolves, who have much more talent in pretty much every position, should be double the points differential than the Pistons right now. And then you look at their field goal percentage differential, it's 5%. So they're shooting worse. They're playing worse defense. They're one of the lowest in pretty much every category in the differentials. And yet they have a team that we were kind of hyped on in the offseason. So yeah. What's going on there?
Go ahead, Johnny.
So, yeah, they're allowing the second most points per game at the moment behind the Washington Wizards. And, yeah, that's the concern. They get blown out often. But looking at kind of the highlights, the pros of that is a rookie like Anthony Edwards, who will get some run during that blowout time, which will be good for you. But also, Cat missing some time doesn't help. But now that he's back, I think –
Is that going to help the points differential at all, though? Because, yeah, he'll put more points up. But is he really going to help you on the defensive end at all? I mean, he's not the best defender. I just am confused by the whole situation.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's not like an impactful defender. I mean, he's one of the best offensive centers in the league and one of
Definitely.
one of the best offensive centers efficiency-wise ever. But I think – yeah, they're just horrible on defense, and that was the concern this year. It's tough, Towns they have a lot of players on their team, or at least their top end talent. People feel really differently about them. Like people feel really differently about Towns. Some people say like, oh well, he's amazing. I mean, he's all NBA caliber, and other people are like, well, he's soft and he doesn't play defense. And then people for D'Angelo Russell are like, well, look at this guy. He's 25 points, per game. He's 25 points a night, basically. Decent passer. And then other people are like, well, he never gets to the rim. His passing really isn't that elite. Again, doesn't play defense. And so there's going to be nights where they look amazing. They're going to score 135 points on certain nights. Are they going to give up 145? Maybe. But yeah, it's tough right now. And it's been rough if you're in fantasy because they've been blown out so much that these guys aren't playing real minutes. Rubio's at 25 minutes a game. D'Angelo Russell will play like 26 minutes a game on certain nights. I think if you're in fantasy, the main hope right now is that getting Towns back makes them competitive.
Right.
And that the minutes start to trend towards something more normal where starters are getting 30 minutes. I mean, it's plenty of guys. We touched on Devontae Graham. I think everybody's talked about Kelly Oubre, so I'm gonna gloss over that. CJ McCollum, I don't know what's going on with him right now, just in terms of like he's playing really well.
Yeah.
Shooting lights out.
Shooting the lights out, taking, I think, 11 threes a game right now. He is completely, he's gotten way more three-point happy. He's taken less shots at the rim than ever before, which is kind of worrying to me. He's just launching up shots, man. And I think it's tough for guys like, we talked about Nurkic, and we didn't touch on Robert Covington, but Robert Covington's also confusing. He's taking like 6 shots a game. He's just like not really a part of their offense. Derek Jones Jr. is playing 35 minutes a game. I don't know what that's about. But like CJ McCollum is having the best year of his career right now as like a 29-year-old. I thought he was like just completely tapped out as far as like his potential as a player. And he still might be, but he's again like 28 points a game, 44% from 3 on 11 attempts. Like that's insane. And 5 assists to only 1.2 turnovers. That's great. Like, I don't know if he's going to keep this up because again, he's not taking any shots at the rim, but I mean, you got to be happy right now if you got McCollum on your fantasy team.
Johnny and I actually covered McCollum in I think it was like 2 episodes ago or something. He's a sell high for us.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
We
don't think the story before.
Yeah.
As far as hot streaks go for CJ McCollum, I mean, last year, he'd have like 3-4 games where he's on it, and then Damian Lillard would completely take over the next 3-4 games. So it's interesting dynamic in Portland.
Yeah, last year there was a point where probably in the middle of the year in DFS where I was like, I'm never playing CJ McCollum again. Never. because he would be like, however much, like 7,500 or whatever on FanDuel, and you'd roster him and he'd put up 23 fantasy points. You're like, are you kidding me? And then a week later, he'd go for like 50 fantasy points at the same price, and you're like, I cannot figure this guy out.
Such a headache.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely similar to Drummond there. The price and the ceiling, you can never really count on it.
But I definitely see a little bit of regression in the near future, and he's pretty scoring dependent. So we'll see if he can keep. We'll see if he can keep it up. We'll monitor this for sure.
Cool. Do you guys have anyone else, or is this a good place to stop?
I have one more. I just want to kind of talk about the Washington Wizards and how they're 2-8 right now.
Yeah.
Do you think it's time to stop resting Westbrook in back-to-backs? Are they at that point of the season where maybe the coach is there's some concerns about him and job security?
I think everybody on this team should have job security concerns, from the coach to Westbrook to Beal. Like, it's just like they are awful, and losing Thomas Bryant's going to make them more awful, because you're replacing Thomas Bryant with Mo Wagner and Robin Lopez, and Lopez couldn't even get playoff minutes for the Bucks last season. Like, the Bucks only had one backup center, and it was Robin Lopez, and he didn't play, so he's not that good anymore. Yeah, I mean, ideally they should probably stop resting Russell Westbrook on back-to-backs, but I just don't foresee them really. Like, I thought they could at least be a play-in team, and they can probably still be a play-in team. You have that much talent on the top, but it's rough right now for Westbrook. I'm not a Westbrook guy, so like this is all for me. This is like it's like inject this into my veins as why Westbrook's not a winning player. So I definitely have concerns about the Wizards.
No, I actually took the complete opposite approach when the season started. I'm not a huge Westbrook guy, but I thought it'd be a pretty good upgrade over John Wall. I was kind of wrong there. Bradley Beal's playing out of his mind. He's one of my favorite fantasy players right now. It's just confusing because they have a lot of young talent. Denny's playing pretty good. Thomas Bryant was good, as you said. That's no more. Another guy I kind of liked was Hachimura. Rui Hachimura.
Hachimura.
I thought that's your Gonzaga guy. Yeah. He didn't really take a huge step up like I thought he would. I thought he would be contributing a little bit more, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It is confusing. I know he was out for a little bit, but
yeah, I have faith in Hachimura because he looked good in the preseason. I don't necessarily like love him as a player, but he can score in a lot of different ways. He can post people up a little bit. He's fine in the mid-range. I want to point out with Westbrook, I'm looking at his shot distribution right now, and this is why I would be concerned about Westbrook. He's taking 24% of his shots at the rim. Last season, that was 49%. So his shots at the rim are basically cut in half, and he's replacing those by, guess what, taking twice as many mid-range jumpers. Long mid-rangers, by the way. 35% of his field goal attempts is long mid-range jumpers.
He's not very efficient.
No, he's not very efficient because he's shooting 38% on those.
He's
So
never been known for his
spot.
efficiency.
No,
it's
not
never
exactly.
been one of his traits. Well, yeah. So what do you think about with Westbrook? Is it time? Can you even sell high? Like, is there is he a sell? Is he a pray, like hold and pray? Like, what do you do with Westbrook in fantasy?
If I had him on any teams, which I can say I don't, so it's not easy for me to give advice, but I can say I would probably hold and hope that things get better. But you need to keep an eye on his, like, where he's shooting the ball. Is he doing anything on defense at all? Like, it's because it's just he's 32 with knee problems and a hyper athletic game. His game is relying on him being an athlete. And everyone's kind of been worried about, is the fall going to be really big for Westbrook? Is he just going to hit a wall and it's over? And this might be it. I mean, he got traded for John Wall, who was coming off an Achilles tear and hadn't played in like a year and a half. So the Rockets were the Rockets kind of had to trade him. But the fact that they got John Wall, and John Wall looks great.
Yeah, we could even throw John Wall into the most confusing players. I mean, what? I did not expect him to be playing the minutes he's playing and the points he's getting. I didn't see that coming. I'll be honest. I really thought he was kind of done, or would maybe like pull into like a backup role or something. But no, he's looking good.
Definitely didn't think it would take a hit to James Harden as much as it has
Right.
this year.
I mean,
That's
his
kinda
minutes,
crazy.
his minutes, the 5 games he's played in, 36, 37, 33, 37, 28. I did not think he would be playing those kind of minutes coming back.
Neither did I. I mean, I think that just kind of goes to the point of like right now he's the 40th ranked fantasy player. I'm going to throw that out there. Achilles injuries aren't what they used to be in terms of like recovery time. It seems like guys can seemingly come back from injuries like that a lot better just with medical advancements. Like Durant's playing extremely well.
Right.
Obviously John Wall had some other issues that apparently were like nagging him throughout his entire career, which I think kind of got swept under the rug in terms of like he had been dealing with heel pain for a very long time. And it sounds like they got most of that cleaned out. And he said that he's felt less pain than he's ever felt probably since high school or college, in that part of his foot. So, had that information been more like out there for people, I think they probably would have been higher on John Wall. But sometimes it is hard to cut through what's real and what's not because, guy like all this offseason, I kept hearing, hey, Blake Griffin's felt as good as he's ever felt in his life. And it's like, well, come on,
Don't hurt me like that. Come on.
Listen, I love Blake. Blake's one of my favorite players ever.
Yeah.
Like I have a Griffin jersey. I just it's tough to watch sometimes.
It is.
That's someone you can throw into the confusing players list as well.
Yeah, man, the whole Pistons, it's rough. It's sad with Killian Hayes going out. It's Blake Griffin kind of still thinking he can shoot threes at an elite level. It's rough to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad, it's smart of Blake to realize he needed to become a 3-point shooter, right? I think to kind of extend his career. And
just not panning out.
It's not panning out. And I feel pretty bad for Hayes. I mean, I think he needed some more time. It was good for him to be out there and getting that experience, but a year to really like absorb, like, because now he knows and the Pistons know what he's good at and what he's not on an NBA court already. And so during his recovery and during the offseason, they can at least like train and work on that, and he can come out more confident.
Just tie his left hand behind his back and make him use his right hand the entire time he's healing, and he'll probably be pretty NBA ready after that.
Yeah, we're in agreement on that.
So let's end this with one last question, kind of getting back to the Rockets and Westbrook. And would you rather have for the rest of the season John Wall or Russell Westbrook?
Wall.
What about you, Johnny?
It's tough for me because Westbrook does gets the assists, gets you the boards. He has a high floor, but I think right now, I don't know, Wall's looking a lot more promising.
Is it like what kind of league you're in dependent? I mean, if you're just a head-to-head that, missed shots doesn't really affect you and field goal percentage doesn't really affect you, at that point, I'd rather
if you're
Westbrook.
In a points league, if you're in a points league, then sure, like Russell Westbrook, right? He's like 50 fantasy points guaranteed, assuming you're playing in like a quote unquote standard points league.
Right.
If you're in a categories league, I'm worried about Westbrook. Yeah. I would lean Wall.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and it's been great having you here. You're obviously pretty good at your job, I'd say.
Yeah, we appreciate your time.
Definitely.
Yeah, no problem. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.